Dragon Empress in wheelchair celebrates birthday alone Mechani. The nebula beyond her throne's viewport glowed faintly, its swirls of violet and gold folding into one another like a painter's brushstrokes on black canvas. The Dragon Empress Eloria Varen sat quietly in her mechanical wheelchair, a marvel of machinery that whispered and hummed with every minor adjustment of its gyros. Her long white hair fell in braided cascades over her thin shoulders, silver bands glinting faintly under the cold light of the ship's chandeliers. It was her birthday, and she was alone. For 30 years, Eloria had ruled the Draconis Imperium, a sprawling civilization of 50 systems. Her enemies called her the crippled tyrant, mocking the chair that carried her frail frame, but her people called her Mother of Stars, for under her reign no world had fallen to famine or plague. She had led victories from afar, orchestrated peace treaties with impossible finesse, and even turned raiders into allies. Yet tonight, the grand halls of her flagship were silent. No courtiers, no generals, not even her adopted daughters, who were light years away studying at diplomatic academies. The Empress turned her chair toward the banquet table. It stretched 100 feet, enough to feed a battalion. Yet only a single cake rested in the center, glowing softly with embedded starlight crystals. She smiled faintly at the absurdity of it. A galaxy at her command, yet no one to share a simple slice with. "Happy birthday, Eloria," she whispered to herself, the sound absorbed by the cavernous chamber, the past that haunted her. Eloria's body had been broken in her youth. She was not born frail. No. Once she had been a fiery warrior who led dragon-shaped mechs into battle. At the Battle of Soren's Rift, she had been struck by a kinetic lance, shattering her spine and searing her nerves beyond repair. For a decade, healers and mechanists tried to restore her mobility, but even the most advanced spinal grafts and nanites could not undo the damage. Her people thought she would fade from leadership, but instead, she rose higher. Eloria refused to let the chair define her. She turned her sharp mind to strategy, diplomacy, and statecraft. While her body failed her, her brilliance grew. And yet, birthdays always reminded her of what she had lost. The laughter of friends, the joy of running, the warmth of a crowded hall singing her name. Now, only the faint hum of her wheelchair kept her company, an unexpected guest. The silence broke with a metallic clang at the chamber doors. "Who dares?" Eloria's voice, though weakened, still carried the authority of an empress. The door creaked open, revealing a small, awkward figure. It was not a soldier nor a servant. Instead, it was a mechanical humanoid, patched together with copper joints and brass plating. Its eyes glowed a soft amber, and it carried a small box clutched to its chest. "Designation Mechani," the robot said, its voice crackling like an old comm. "Apologies for intrusion. I wish you not be alone, Empress." Eloria blinked. Mechani was one of the oldest units in her fleet, an obsolete maintenance automaton assigned to clean reactor shafts. She vaguely remembered commissioning its repairs years ago, insisting even the most outdated machine deserved function if it wished it. "You," she murmured. "Why have you come?" The robot shuffled forward nervously. "I overheard servants whisper. They said Empress would dine alone. Protocol indicates birthdays are meant to be shared. I brought this." It placed the box on the table, opening it with trembling servos. Inside lay a crude figurine, carved from spare plating. It resembled a dragon, lopsided, uneven, but clearly made with care. Eloria's chest tightened. No general had remembered. No noble had dared approach her solitude. Yet this forgotten machine had built something for her with its own clumsy hands. "Sit with me," she said softly. "I do not sit," Mechani replied, tilting its head. "Then stand. That is enough." The robot obeyed, standing awkwardly at the end of the table as Eloria sliced the cake. For the first time in years, she felt warmth, not from the starlight crystals, but from the simple presence of one who had come not for power, not for favor, but simply because it cared. Shadows stir, but peace never lingered long in Eloria's life. As she shared cake with the machine, alarms blared across the flagship. The floor rumbled with the impact of weapons fire. Her comm crackled alive. Empress, enemy fleet emerging from hyperslip. It's the Vaith Dominion. They've targeted our position. Eloria's eyes hardened. The Vaith were old enemies, scavenger lords who had waited decades for a chance to strike. And of course, they would choose tonight. When her guard was down, her halls empty. "Ready the Draconis guard," she commanded. Her chair lifted, servos expanding into a combat-ready stance, panels sliding open to reveal mounted control sticks. Though she could not walk, her wheelchair was no mere throne. It was her battle frame. "Mechani," she said, glancing at the small robot. "You should flee." The automaton shook its head. "No, birthday must not end in death." Eloria almost laughed at the absurd loyalty, but there was no time. She guided her chair toward the tactical hub, Mechani clanking faithfully behind her, into the fire. The flagship Star Dragon Eternal shuddered as enemy ships rained plasma fire across its shields. Through the viewport, Eloria could see them, sleek black warships marked with crimson sigils, surrounding her fleet like vultures. Her generals' voices filled the command channel. "Empress, we are outnumbered 3-1. They must have known your location. This is an assassination strike." "Orders." Eloria's eyes gleamed coldly. "Then let us make them regret underestimating a woman in a chair." Her hands danced over controls, directing her fleet like a conductor guiding symphonies. Ships shifted, weaving into formations that caught the Dominion's fire and redirected it. Her tactical genius turned disadvantage into trap, her crippled body hidden but her brilliant mind ablaze. Yet the enemy pressed harder. One Dominion cruiser broke through the lines, diving straight toward the flagship. Impact imminent. Eloria's wheelchair battleframe detached from the floor with a hiss, magnetic locks releasing. She turned to Mechani. "Stay here." "That is an order." But Mechani did not obey. The sacrifice. The Dominion cruiser slammed into the Eternal, breaching its hull. Armored raiders stormed inside, weapons blazing. The Empress's guards fell back, forming shields around her. "Protect the Empress." Eloria's battleframe unfolded into dragon-shaped plating, plasma lances sparking to life at her sides. From her chair, she fired, her strikes precise, felling invaders one by one. But there were too many. A raider raised a disruptor cannon, aiming straight at her. "Empress." Mechani cried, hurling itself forward. The shot struck the little robot square in the chest, tearing through its plating. Sparks flew as it collapsed, smoking, its amber eyes flickering weakly. Eloria's breath caught. Something deep within her cracked. "No!" she roared, her voice carrying the fire of her ancestors. With renewed fury, she unleashed the full might of her frame, plasma wings unfurling like blazing banners. Raiders fell before her wrath until the halls were silent once more. But at what cost? She wheeled herself to Mechani's side. The robot twitched, wires exposed. Its voice crackled. "Did I ruin birthday?" Tears welled in the Empress's eyes. She touched the robot's broken frame with trembling fingers. "No, my little dragon. You made it perfect." The aftermath. Hours later, the Dominion fleet had been driven back. The Eternal limped but survived. The Draconis Imperium celebrated another impossible victory, led by their indomitable Empress. Yet in her private chamber, Eloria sat alone once more. The cake was half-eaten, the carved dragon figurine still on the table. Beside it lay Mechani's broken body. carefully placed by her own hands. She could have ordered engineers to scrap it, to recycle the outdated parts. But instead, she summoned her finest mechanists. "Restore it," she commanded, piece by piece, no matter how long it takes. The mechanists bowed, for Eloria had made a decision. An empress may command fleets and bend galaxies, but birthdays, she realized, were not meant to be celebrated in silence. They were meant to be shared, with someone who cared enough to stand beside her, even at the end of the world. 1 year later, the halls of the Eternal glowed once again, this time filled with laughter and light. Nobles, generals, and citizens alike had gathered, for word had spread. The Empress would not spend another birthday alone. At the head of the table sat Eloria, her white hair gleaming, her chair polished into brilliance. And beside her, standing proudly, was Mechani, rebuilt, reinforced with platinum plating, its amber eyes brighter than ever. When the cake was presented, Mechani leaned close. "Happy birthday, Empress." Eloria smiled, warmth flooding her heart. "No, my little dragon," she said softly. "Happy birthday to us." For though galaxies still wage war, and though her body would never heal, the Dragon Empress had found something greater than victory. She had found companionship, and that, she knew, was worth more than any empire.